Hey everybody, this is Pastor Dave and this is your Monday Mojo. Hope you had a great weekend. And I want to read just a few words from one of the greatest authors ever. It was the best of times, it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness. You know that that's the beginning of one of the great novels of all time, A Tale of Two Cities. Well, today I want to tell you the tale of two families. At this end of the bar, we have the great Irish-American family, the O'Shaughnessy's from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they were gathered together at a family gathering, and there was a whole bunch of them. Irish Catholic families are huge. And they were sitting around and they were sipping their whiskey. And they said, you know what would be really great is if we had our own whiskey brand, our own family whiskey. And such was born an idea. Now, down at this end of the bar was Ireland and a gentleman named Brian Nation. He was a young man who had grown up in Cork, Ireland. He had gone to elementary school there and high school there, and he'd played all the sports teams, and he went to college there, and he learned how to be a chemical engineer. And he went to work there in the town, and when he was working there in the town, he got a call from one of the greatest places you could get a call from in Ireland, Jameson whiskey, Jameson Irish whiskey. They called him and asked him if he would want to come and be a part of what they were doing. And so he went there and he made friends with the master distiller. He made friends with other people there. He learned the process. He was an inquisitive guy. When he had his chemistry degree and he worked, he said, it was great, but they wouldn't let me ask questions. They wouldn't let me try and do new things. And so he was always trying new things. And so he rose up in the ranks at Jameson Distillery and became the master distiller of Jameson. Now, that's the top of the game. And then he gets a LinkedIn message from this end of the bar. Across the pond, the O'Shaughnessy's called and said, hey, would you be interested in working with us? Now he's here, Jameson, the top of the game. And these guys don't even have a distillery really yet. And they call and say, would you be interested? And he said, well, I don't know. And they said, well, we might be there in a month. He said, I don't know. And then a couple of days later, they called and said, actually, we're coming in a few days. I'm bringing my dad and my cousin. We're coming. And they met with him. And he told them before they got there, he said, listen, I'm very happy with what I do. I'm at Jameson, and I don't know that I have any interest in moving away from this land. And yet the O'Shaughnessy's came. And they met for what was supposed to be maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours, which turned into 5 hours. And Brian Nation says that when they met, it was 5.5 hours, and only 15 minutes of it was talking about whiskey. This is Brian. I got to meet him a few weeks ago. And when he told this story about this new whiskey that he's come to make, an Irish-American whiskey, or an American-Irish whiskey, Keeper's Heart, I asked him, I said, listen, I want to ask you a question. You're at the top of the game at Jameson. You're doing what you want to do. What in the world would call you, would woo you to come to America? He said, it's a funny thing. He said, they called me. They came over, we met for 5 hours. He's got 3 young children who are still at home. And he said, you know what, we met for 5 hours. And 15 minutes of that was about whiskey. The rest of it was about our two families, a tale of two families connecting. He says in an article in the Minneapolis Monthly, he said, listen, if it had been anybody else, I'd probably still be in Ireland with Jameson. But there was a connection between me and the O'Shaughnessy family. So he came. So they're working on this. And it's good. It's good stuff. You ought to try it if you like it. Got me thinking. I've been saying for the last several weeks at my church for 2022 that I believe the church has 3 things to offer people: help, hope, and home. Home. Family. A place where you connect. A place A force that's so powerful that it drew Brian to come all the way across the pond to Minneapolis, Minnesota, to start something that had not even begun, to try something new. Family. It's that powerful. It's that important. Cherish yours. Value yours. And remember that it's a gift that we have the ones that we love. Anyway, that's your Monday Mojo. Keeper's Heart, Brian Nation. Cheers.